Talking with a Dad, episode 11. 12. What episode are we
12?
on?
13.
It's 12. It is 12.
11 to you.
You didn't know, Steve. You didn't know.
Like many other businesses I've run in my life, I'm like, how long has my name been on this LLC?
We've been running at a loss for how long? We have a few.
What's going on, Zach?
A few topics tonight. Not much. There hasn't really been much going on in life. Just
I mean, not much.
Than...
Not much in the interwebs, but there's stuff going on in the world.
There is a lot of stuff going on in the world. We're gonna get to that. What have you haven't been playing anything, have you? You've been MIA for solid last 2 weeks.
No, that's not true. You've been sick. You've been sick, and you escaped to Tarkov.
I've been playing Tarkov every single night for like 2 weeks. You haven't been on. You haven't been around.
Dude, I don't play that game. I've been advised not to play the game. I do jump into Pat's stream every once in a while, and the first thing I hear is, and the last thing I'll usually hear is, you fuck! I just thought! And I'm like, what is happening right now?
There is a lot of that.
You actually screened me out of giving Pat an Amazon sub because I was like, oh, this is too loud. I gotta get out of here.
That's what I'm here for.
How's it going, man, with the Tarkov, man? Because you've officially dumped COD like a bad ex-girlfriend that made her way back into your life after your friend told you not to let her over the next night. You let her stay over at your house the next night, and then she didn't leave for 3 days.
There is no reason at this moment to play this Call of Duty. It's, for me at least, not fun with the skill-based matchmaking. They've ruined all of the maps that they've reintroduced into the game from older games. The gunplay is good. Like I've said this, beating a dead horse at this point, really. But
kill the horse then.
Yeah, really. I need to really just hit it. A good one. But there really is no point for me to play COD anymore. It's just not fun. So we've been playing Tarkov, bunch of us. So it's going well. I don't know how many Tarkovers there are out there, but it's kind of hard to talk about a game that's so in depth that you need to be so involved with to someone that's just sitting on the outside.
Let me ask you a question. When you start playing Tarkov, so I asked you this about COD, this new COD coming out, and I was expecting more, but I'm starting to see that you're really into this game. You got any rituals yet? Is there anything you do before a good game of Tarkov? What are you doing?
Well, I usually get out of work. I drive home. Right? I eat. I come in here. I edit one video. And then I hop on Tarkov. That's it. I don't have any rituals for this stuff.
Are you sure you're not like stretching? You're not doing
no
finger exercises before you get going there?
I might blow it in my hands if my hands are cold. But
right.
That's it. It's just to like warm my hands up. I don't really have any rituals with this stuff, man. I don't. I just play the game a lot. That's it. I stayed up until, and you've known, right? I've been going to bed at like 11 on most days. Recording nights, obviously.
You texted me the other night pretty late.
Did I?
Yeah, after you were playing. I thought you were done for the night. I got a text at like 1 in the morning or something, I think. Was
Probably. Yeah, I've played really late on this game. And we'll stop playing at like 11:30, but then I'm sitting there organizing my inventory, like making trades, cleaning up the inventory, upgrading weapons, like building weapons, like just doing a bunch of stuff that's like chorey that you don't want to do while like, all right, cool, we're going into a scav. We're going to scav run, and then we're going to do a PMC run on customs, right? You don't want to take that time in between to like build your gun. So I have like an arsenal. I actually just sold off almost everything, all of the guns that I had before tonight's session. I sold off everything because I was just like, all right, I don't want to use any of these guns anymore. I have enough money where I've progressed past using the lower level AK-47s, right? I've gone past all of that. So I want to start, getting into the lower end M4s or getting into the ADARs or maybe trying to pull out some snipers, which we did tonight, or getting into some of maybe the higher power SMGs. And yeah, we kind of did that. So I sold off a lot of my stuff.
Sounds like a lot of fun. That inventory system is insane. So
the inventory system isn't that bad, right? You're just playing Tetris with trying to keep everything in view. That is it. So the customization, the organization with that is actually fairly easy. What's really hard is how customizable the guns are. Your gun at the highest end, right? Your $1 million Colt M4s have 30 components to them, right? From an upper, a lower, a charge handle, rails, mounts, lasers, foregrips, barrels, muzzles. There's tons and tons and tons of what you could do with a gun. And that's where it becomes complicated.
That was the perfect pitch for the NRA. There's tons of what you can do with a gun.
I was editing the second video that's going to go up this coming week today before we started playing, and I had the perfect, like, I was like, hey, I want to sell this to Battlestate Games, of me talking about Tarkov, about what Tarkov is, because you had asked me, like, hey, I watched PUBG in this game and they seem very similar in some aspects. Why are they similar? I'm like, they're two different games. And I was like, the thing about Tarkov is that it has the highest highs and the lowest lows. You can go in, you can get a bunch of kills, and you can get out with stuff, and there's nothing like that in gaming. No other game has that. And I went on like this, I wouldn't say a rant, but like a monologue about why the game is so addicting, to me at least.
Let me ask you a question. When did the game release? It's official release.
Never. It's not officially released. It's in.
Okay, so we're still in beta.
Yeah. It's been in. I've had the game for a while, and it was in alpha. Let me see if I can look up some information. Escape from Tarkov. Like, the game is buggy still.
Is it?
It was first made available in a closed alpha on August 4th, 2016. So really, the stem of why this game just blew up is the drops that they're doing on Twitch right now. If every 3 hours and 20 minutes on average, you're gonna get a drop from watching someone on stream.
Okay.
I have people up on my main computer and on my laptop trying to maybe capitalize on some drops. Right. It's only partners. So I've got a lot. I've made good money off of the drops, way more than I think is reasonable for the game, because it's going to throw the economy off. Right, there is an economy to the game, because if you're playing, you're a random guy in Vancouver, right, and I'm playing, and I'm random guy in Norway.
Right,
I could put a weapon on the flea market, and you could purchase that weapon, right. The more items that you add into the game that aren't got through regular means is going to throw the economy off, right? It's going to devalue everything, because I think in 3 days or in 2 days, I've had 4 drops from this Twitch event that I made over 1 million credits from. And 1 million credits is not an insignificant amount of money. In some games, it's insignificant, right? This game is very significant. You could buy a full kit for 1 million credits and be good to go. So
it does sound like it has like the highest highs and lowest lows.
Dude,
because you're talking about this currency like it's like real.
I have 4.3 million credits right now. Maybe a little bit more. Maybe I'm up to 4.4 or 4.5. But every time I need a new gun, I have to go buy something. And I'm spending 250,000 credits on a gun on the really high end, or like 125,000 credits on a gun that I'm just gonna go use for like a simple run. Like, it ebbs and flows. At one point yesterday, I was down under 1 million, and today I'm up over 4. So there is an economy to it. There is a balancing to it, but the game is incredible. I shot a guy yesterday 33 times with like not good ammo when I was kind of down, and did 0 damage to him essentially. And he hit me 3 times and I died, because he just had ammo that was 700 or 800 credits a bullet, where mine was 3 credits a bullet. Right? There is a disparage, like a differential in the ammo types that you could use within the same gun, within the same magazine. It's really it's interesting. There's a lot to the game. It's incredibly in depth.
You don't say. I thought. So here's what I thought. Looking at some gameplay, watching it, because obviously people edit their gameplay to get the most action and they're like make it look really impressive. I've yet to watch a full live stream,
Sure.
but it's just the one thing I feel like is like tension. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's, you know how some streamers need to talk to the chat to feel their. I feel like people are talking because it's tense, and they're like, "Oh, fuck."
There is always a level of intensity, right? Because when you spawn in, right? So you were in a PMC group, right? When me, Shane, Pat, and Arx just spawned into Woods, we're right next to each other, right?
Right.
But for the rest of this map, that is, say, 10 kilometers squared. We don't know who is there. There's other players, there's scavs, and there's player scavs, and we don't know where you are.
Can I get some term definition? What's a scav?
Scav is just your general, like, AI in Tarkov.
Okay.
Which is the AI that you play against. Usually kind of like people who are scavengers, like in a post-apocalyptic world. Those are your scavs. PMC is your character, right? That's your PMC. That's the character you can level up. That's the character that when you get injured in a raid and you get out, you have to heal yourself out of raid. Like, that's your guy. And then a player scav is one of those scav characters, but every 20 minutes, or, you know, it varies a little bit depending on how high of a level your hideout is. Every 20 minutes, you get to play as a scav. So it's very low risk, but very high reward. So if I go in and kill one of these PMCs and I pick up Gen 4 armor and a helmet and like an M4, I just made from zero, right? I could have just left with whatever gun, like random kit that I spawned in with. I could have just left with that and taken that and try to play with it later. I just made 750,000, 800,000 credits because I got a lucky kill on a guy. So there are some.
That's freaking insane.
There are some low risk like aspects to the game, but not for
Can we get some numbers? How many active players you think right now play?
I couldn't tell you. There are no player counts. When you load into a map, it doesn't tell you how many players are there. My guess would be well over 100,000 now. At some point, I believe the game was probably around 10 to 12,000 players. But it blew up on Twitch, right? Right now on Twitch, there's 219,000 people watching. It is the most watched section on Twitch. It's doubling just chatting. League is at 87,000. Fortnite's at 75,000, right? Call of Duty's at 26,000. It's at 219,000. Just chatting's at 104. Wow. Right, it's blown up on Twitch. This is a game I think that really lends itself really well to content creation, like live streams, because you get to, like, if I'm watching Pastilli, right, I'm gonna use this guy for an example because he's like legitimately like my new favorite streamer. I wish that I bought Pastilli merch. I bought 2 shirts of his because they're they're actually really nice looking merch. I wish I would have gotten it for the show today, but I didn't. It's gonna come for next week, I hope. But I could watch him and watch the way his character ebbs and flows. Obviously, he's a really, really good player, and he's a really high-level character. But, like, when next wipe happens, so every 4 to 6 months or something, they wipe everyone's character, clear your inventory, and you start back from a base point. Just to try to, like, make tweaks, or when they add big things into the game. They kind of do these wipes. Next wipe, you could sit there and watch Pastilli thrive in the games and like lose and like really kind of like feel with the player, because it's easy to see if you're being successful, you know, there's a clear path to being successful, and it's not, as a spectator, it's not hard to figure out who is being successful and who is not, right? And that's really that's good. And like, if you watch people succeed at all in anything, it's really nice to be able to have a clear cut way of, hey, he's doing really well, or hey, he's not. And you get to watch from the outside. So it really, I think, lends itself to content creation.
Really quick. The gentleman you were just talking about, what's the guy's name you were watching? He was, what did he, like 38 hours when I had checked in you? So you told me about him?
Pastilli. Hey, the first day.
How far did he make it?
44 hours.
44 hours.
So he made it 44, slept 9, streamed for 16, slept 8, streamed for 19, slept for 7 hours, and now he's live right now, and he's been live for 7 or 8 hours.
Whew.
Yeah, he streamed for 44 hours. So this is a guy who was at one point, and during the video, I actually had misspoke. I said he was around 1,200 viewers on average. He was actually sitting around 3,200 viewers average. So I don't want to discredit him there at all. He was actually a bigger streamer than what I had originally quoted him. He was sitting at about 3,200, and that first night, he peaked at like 25,000 before I went to bed. Right? I woke up in the morning. He was still going. He was at 47,000. I went to work. He was in the 60s. Right before I was about to leave at like 4:30, 5 o'clock. Excuse me. He peaked at over 75,000 or 74,000 viewers that night. Came home. I watched him. He never dropped under 60 again. I'm actually literally watching right now. He just outplayed someone like hilariously incredible. He peaked at he was at 60. I went to sleep. I woke up again in the morning, and he was still at 60,000 viewers. I went to work. He peaked at 75,000, and right before I left, he got off.
Now, you said he made some life-changing money, too.
Yeah. So I think in the first 3 days of these drops being out, he gained 11,000 subscribers, which at $250 a piece, right? You can do the math, right? That's another, $27,500 right there. That's direct injection right into your bank account.
Oh,
he made, I think, well, he's Australian, so he's probably gonna get taxed twice. He made, I don't even know, like 50,000 bits, which is like not as obviously not as much as $27,000, but it's still $500, right? 50,000, yeah, like 500, 5,000. I don't care. Yeah, 5,000. He made donations, like people buying his merch. Like it was crazy. I bought his merch, right?
Oh yeah,
yeah, I did. I bought 2 shirts.
Nice.
Yeah, so I bought 2 shirts. And then, but that has just kept up overall. Right now, actually, on the first, he announced that he is he's actually, before all this happened, he was still gonna try, but he's raising money for children in Australia that were they're in. It's almost like St. Jude's here.
Okay.
But for Australia, so the Starlight Fund, I guess. He's trying to raise $1 million over 2020. For that charity. So any donation that goes to him, he's not taking it. He's giving it. It's actually, the link is redirected straight to the Starlight site.
Oh, nice.
And he already donated $5,000 himself to start it off. And like, he's going to be doing charity streams throughout the year. I think he's going to do 1 a month, he said. They've already raised over $50,000.
Wow.
So in the first 2 days, our time, he's in Australia. It's 3 days for him, I guess. So yeah, this guy Pastilli, I really do recommend checking him out. He actually makes on YouTube, he makes the best guides for Tarkov. So if you wanted to get into Tarkov, you're a new Tarkov player, you loaded in, you brought your AK, but you didn't bring the right ammo, and you died because you couldn't shoot. Go watch Pastilli's stuff. He does really, really basic guides that actually help people a lot.
Let's see what Pastilli's doing. I'm going.
He's playing Tarkov right now. It's probably not the best content for you to be watching. You get distracted really easy because you're kind of old. What were your other topics? We got to get off Tarkov, man. This is all I could literally.
Don't use me this. Don't use me to segue because you're over there.
I could not even. I could literally talk about Tarkov for hours.
If there was a way for me to edit merch on you while you were talking, I would have totally put a Tarkov hat on you, a Pastilli bandana.
What's cool is Tarkov will
bleach you all up. Oh, we're back on Tarkov.
Yeah, yeah. Tarkov, Battlestate Games, who makes Tarkov, will add items in for streamers, right? Right. And he's getting his Plague Doctor mask added into the game. That's really cool. Sick. Shroud's getting his like Shroud. I don't know, the Shroud, I guess, right? Added into the game. So there's a few things.
No one's watching. According to you, no one's watching Shroud play.
Man, I checked it on Mixer as like Pastilli's like blowing up. He had like 7K viewers, and I'm like,
but was he killing it on the game?
Oh, he always is. He always is. He's incredible. He's incredible, dude. It's incredible.
Now, if his gameplay went down, based on his viewership, then that would be one thing. But he's still in there like, yeah, I got 7,000 people, but
He's
the
still
shit
there
I'm
like,
doing,
he's still there like, you're
I'm
dead, you're dead, you're
murderer.
dead, you're dead, you're dead. That guy over there is dead. Yeah, Shroud is still a human aimbot, right? But no,
all
I
right,
don't know,
so
it makes sense.
we're not done with Tarkov because this is like, I want you guys to know it's been a while. Zach's been kind of sick lately, so he's
I've been sick for like
feeling.
a solid week.
I thought he was gonna die the other day. He sounded so bad he wanted to just get off the record. But it's good to see you pumped up, buddy. You got some color in your face again. Beard's looking crisp and gingery, and you're feeling good about yourself. I can tell. So what do we got? What do we got here, man? We got.
What do you want to do? What do you want to do? You've fallen into a bandwagon here.
Yes.
I don't quite understand because clearly I am not on it because I.
All right.
Don't care.
Check it out. Right.
Check it out. Take the floor.
I love a good story-driven game, right? And recently, after The Mandalorian wrapped and it had its amazing season 8, episode 8, which everyone universally loved, united a whole group of people that were kind of like, show was becoming kind of divisive. A lot of people loved it. A lot of people hated it. Everyone agrees that episode 8 was an amazing way to end it, right? Most people are still very up in the air on the last.
Do you think everyone who's a fan of it has seen it by now?
Yes. I think most people have.
Baby Yoda die?
I want to give people who have not seen it, that's not a fan.
Spoiler alert. In 3, 2, 1, answer the question.
No, Baby Yoda did not die.
Okay,
but I got to tell you.
That's all. I don't care about the rest of what you're going to say. I'm sorry.
Listen to me.
I wanted to make sure Baby Yoda, who...
You listen to me.
I made my first meme because of the Baby Yoda craze, which I thought was hilarious.
All I'm going to say is, if you're into RPGs, everyone have supporting characters, and sometimes the die just don't roll right for these people, but everyone got a 12 with his supporting characters because they were doing work. But I was feeling good about that, and I enjoyed the Star Wars Force Unleashed games and all that. So we've been over this. But after going to see the latest Star Wars movie, I was just like, man, in my head doing that whole fan theory thing, like, what if they did something different? What if I could experience some more Star Wars lore and it wasn't what I just saw? So I started playing Fallen Order, and I got to tell you, this game is pretty amazing. First of all, if you're playing it on a PC, you really do get the benefit of having a GPU because it looks great.
It looks amazing.
It looks amazing.
Did you fight the giant frog off the start?
The giant frog comes a little bit later in the game, not a little bit, not at the.
Well, isn't there one like almost immediately at the beginning that you're supposed to fight later, but everyone's kind of baited into going and fighting it?
Yeah. This one, you go to I think it's you go to a secondary planet. I avoided that big frog. I didn't fight him because that was unnecessary.
You're a smart player. You're a well-informed consumer. I like this.
And I'm getting sucked into the story. It's got some obvious things I think that I can predict. I've done well in not watching any spoilers. I did cheat a little bit, and I watched a walkthrough because I wanted a dual lightsaber early on in the game. And I gotta tell you, man, I've never played Dark Souls, but if this was Dark Souls, if this is what it was like, I'm like, this is amazing. This is absolutely amazing.
You would like Dark Souls. Dark Souls is the hardest melee game of all time.
Is it?
By far. Dark Souls, Bloodborne, that series. Sekiro's in that series as well, kind of like adjacent, like a cousin to that series.
Right.
They're all made by the same people. They're all they're all very, very like incredibly hard.
Yeah, and this game by no means is hard, and I talk beat it in Jedi Master, but the story just sucks you in so much. And I'll tell you the one thing I really do enjoy. Yeah, it's dumb, and it's predictable and stuff like that. You really get turned around in this game. So like I'm running around, and I'm usually good at these type of maps. I'm like, all right, this thing is there because it's pointing me to that thing. It's how I get through. They always put a way in these games for you to figure out where you're going. I literally ran around in circles the other day for 2 hours, and like I started doing that thing I do when I start talking low when I'm talking to the game and I'm infuriated. I'm gonna climb back up there. Again. That's not where I go. Look, I died. Oh yeah, that's right. Whenever I save, the enemies respawn, so I gotta fight all 12 of these stormtroopers again. and then finally I got to the part where I realized I needed to go. Forrest Whitaker makes an appearance in the game.
Forrest Whitaker?
Amazing. I'm like, the budget alone just to get him, and it's really him, not some voice actor. And it's fun, man. And it finally got me off my Ghost Recon kick, which, by the other way, I've completely disavowed. I did not install it, but I got to a point where I was just like, what am I doing? Why am I trying to parachute onto this mountain right now? Like, what's the point of all of this? Like, I'm gonna beat these robots and get another crappy little gun. Why not?
Yeah, it doesn't. I'm sorry, but Ghost Recon seems awful, and I keep wanting to tell you that, and you wouldn't listen to me.
I think you've told me. Can we cut that edit in right now? Ghost Recon is awful, Steve. Ghost Recon is awful.
Pew, 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 pew. And like the first time we played, you're like, "Hey man, this new Ghost Recon game was out." I'm like, "Don't buy it! Don't buy it! Leave it! Leave it!" And you're like,
and
"I think I'm gonna get it."
I didn't get to play the game for 3 months correctly because it wouldn't play on the PC.
And I fixed it subsequently
by proxy. Yes.
Yeah. It would do like things.
One that's I just gotta check. The Video Game Awards was Fallen Order. Did it come out too late to be nominated for anything? Because I feel like it should have been nominated.
I don't remember. Actually, I think the Fallen Order came out early enough because it definitely came out in 2019. So
yeah, it came out the 15th, and Death Stranding came out the 8th. So it's a straight up snub.
I think it did get it nominated though. Did it not?
Did it?
I could look through, but keep going.
So story, the story's great. They pull heavily Clone Wars, the TV shows. They bring in characters from there, and they did basically the same thing that Jon Favreau and has done with the Mandalorian. He's like, you know what? There's a rich, deep culture of information I can use here that fans seem to enjoy, and I can build off this universe. Why go off on a tangent and do my own thing? And
yeah, right.
I respect bold storytelling, but not in this instance. I want what works, and this game works for me. So I've just recently completed the last part with Forrest Whitaker, and I found myself not wanting to save and go to bed. That's where I was.
Oh, really?
I was like, I can just get 5 more minutes.
I like games like that. I like games like that. It actually was not nominated for anything.
Snub, complete snub.
Okay, it's EA. EA doesn't really get that love.
No, they don't get that love.
No, EA is a terrible company.
Maybe that's why they act out so much, dude, because they don't get the love.
It could be it. It could be it. For sure. They're like dogs or like children.
They're like, you don't nominate us with this loot situation?
We're making it worse. You got to run loot crates to get the game. I'm like, wait, what? That's evil. They're like, we know. You wanted it. They're like, no, we did. Oh, I mean, we're all buying them still, but no, we didn't.
I'm just gonna go ahead and say, like, late to the bandwagon, but I can see why so many enjoy it. So shout out to the developers, the designers, even the freaking voice actors. Amazing, man. Characters look great. Looked at a little gameplay on the PS4, and it's extremely glitchy. Like, there was a point with the main character, I'm watching PS4 gameplay, and I noticed his cowl is blowing in a spaceship in space, and I'm like, there's no drafts on spaceships. They wouldn't waste that time.
Were they moving?
Like, yeah, it was moving, but it's not like we're driving the family car. You know what I'm saying? There's air coming in from the outside in. Space is a void. You know, it's like the only air.
It is a vacuum.
But, looks great. That's all I got to say. But I'm late to that one. I enjoyed it.
Good.
Immensely.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. The next time a Steam sale rolls around, you should get Dark Souls 3. It'll be 70 cents. It'll literally be less than it'll be less than $10 because that's why I bought it. I have Dark Souls.
Hey, you want to hear an insane markdown on a sale that was better than the Steam? So at this point,
the PlayStation Store. Oh, okay. We're gonna go into the Rainbow Six Siege thing again.
Yeah, no, Rainbow. Did I tell you this already?
Yeah, I just edited that video.
God damn it. $6.99. That's amazing.
I missed the Steam sales. I think. I don't even know. I don't know when they're going. I missed a lot of things, dude. Tarkov has really taken over my life. If we want to get back into that, I was thinking about getting out.
You're like, and anyway,
back to shooters.
So, what do you think, Zach? I sent you a video there about Chael
Sonnen. He outlined exactly what you've been saying on how to beat Khabib for a long time. Right, for as long as I have known you. It was the first thing you said to me. You were like, you know how you beat Khabib? And I'm like, who are you? And you're like, you gotta keep him away from the cage. You gotta keep him in the center. His takedowns, his wrestling is really awful. And I'm like, excuse me, why'd they let you back here? Like, no, I work here. Do you like fighting? And I'm like, and you're like, all right, we're gonna talk about fighting.
I'm telling you, man, it's a boxer, center of the octagon, and it's not, he's. So I don't agree with Chael's assessment of his wrestling. Seen early on in his career, Khabib was shooting for a power takedown. It's not your traditional wrestling, like American wrestling, Roman Greco wrestling, double leg. But
Right.
Khabib, he can do a nasty power double leg there. But at the same time, where he's at in his career, I don't know if it's just him playing possum.
I don't know.
He doesn't do it anymore.
No.
You know what I'm saying? He doesn't do it anymore.
Chael said very specifically that he goes for a weak single leg takedown.
Yep.
Right. And he's right. He does do that. But he uses that to get you up against the cage. He uses that to reposition your body, not to take you down. To reposition where you are in relative to where he is. Right? That's why he does that. Not to take you down. To control.
And there's one thing, another assessment that I think Chael brought up, and I also agree with. Depending on the opponent he's facing, it's going to go up a notch. So with someone like Edson Barboza, he basically mauled that guy because he could not take a chance. He couldn't take any chance with standing with him for even a second. So it's like, get him to the ground, hold him down. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes with Ferguson. But give me your assessment. What do you think of old Chael? And first of all, Chael's studio, if that's not a real background,
I love it.
That's amazing.
I love Chael's studio. I do. Obviously, he's super knowledgeable because he is a high level wrestler, right? Yeah. He would kind of understand, and he could see the transitions and the level changes of standing center octagon to the cage, to the ground, to the leg manipulation that Khabib does, right? He understands that better than I do. For sure. I can outline it, but, he sees the intricacies of how he wraps a leg under and then switches before he switches which hand he's going to throw with. Right?
Right.
I don't know if Tony is the person to beat him. And I don't think he is. I think Tony is preparing for something that Khabib isn't going to give him. He's preparing for... From what I have seen of his videos that he's putting out, he's preparing for a grappling match, which is not how Khabib fights. And but also he's also preparing for Khabib to be directly on top of him, which is he's only there enough time to get you flattened out before he postures up and starts mauling you. Right?
Rains hell down. Yeah.
You can't train for the way Khabib fights because he's unique in the way that he holds everything.
I mean, there is a clear way to beat. There's a clear path. I'm not saying this because I'm his fanboy, but full disclosure. So if you just go back and watch some of DC's early matches, right? Very different in their grappling, but the same approach with their dominance when using their grappling, right?
Yeah.
And you look at DC, and people were literally saying, I don't know, there's no way to beat him. And I'm like, yeah, there's a clear way to beat him.
Yeah, don't let him take you down.
You have to impose your will on him. And that doesn't just mean wrestling. You have to give him something to think about every time he comes in. And I think that's where Tony's clear path to victory is. I've said it before, and I said it again. Khabib's knockout is going to look worse than Ronda Rousey's. Mark my words. Yeah. All this stuff about his striking being proficient,
his striking is awful.
don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? We're falling for the same thing over again. I think Tony's clear, and Tony may be lulling us into some shit right now. I think he's probably just doing his weird Tony stuff. I think his strategy is going to be, I'm going to hit him from every angle possible.
That's exactly what he does to everyone, though. Right? Yeah. That's what he does to everybody. And the interesting part about this fight is when it goes to the ground. It's going to. Khabib is going to take you down, right? No matter what. You are not going to stop that. No one has stopped it yet.
What if I told you they said the exact same thing about Daniel, and he only got one takedown in the fight with John? both fights.
Right. That's what they say about Stipe now too.
Yeah.
Right. Stipe's taken down every opponent that he's ever had.
Yeah.
So he did that to the DC like immediately in the first round, if I remember correctly, in the first fight.
And DC got right. He got up fairly quick.
Yeah. It wasn't great. He took him down though.
But finish your point. I'm sorry. But so you think Tony's gonna just
Tony's gonna be able to, if Tony can keep him close enough, and I don't know how Tony's gonna do this because usually you would use your legs to keep someone within range, but Khabib isolates your legs.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he's gonna do it, but he's gonna have to hit him with elbows.
Yeah.
Right. That's the only way he's gonna be able to do it is hit him with elbows on his way in and on the way out. But he he throws your hands, he isolates your legs, your body and your feet are going opposite directions. There is no clear. Yeah, that's essentially how it is. There is no clear way of keeping him close enough to you, but also far enough away.
Yeah, I do agree with this. I agree with that assessment 100%. I think we're gonna have to see a lot of elbows, like in the awkward clinch moment. Like we're gonna have to see a lot of elbows. We have to see. Hopefully, if he tries to strike from his back, he's gonna get subbed. Right? He's gonna give him an arm and could be he's gonna rip that arm off.
He's gonna Kimura him for sure. Yeah.
So, but I agree with something you said in one of like a few weeks back. Tony's got to make him pay every which way coming in, and that sounds like, oh, that's your strategy, but it's like, no, train that way. Like we're looking to turn defense into offense in every engagement. Yeah, like I'm hitting him with something every time he's too close, and I'm jabbing him when he's just far enough away. Maybe some oblique kicks, really slick, like get it in there, some foot stomps. And hit him in places.
Some foot stomps. I like
hit him in places. And then also, I wouldn't mind if we see people go for those underhooks. If you get it, tighten those underhooks up. Hold him up. Make him feel awkward right here. You know what I'm saying? And then spin yourself off the cage, spin him off the cage, tag him with a jab. Hit him with a cross.
Has anyone ever been able to successfully underhook Khabib?
No, but that doesn't mean it can't happen, right? Give that man something to think about in every exchange. Every exchange, man. I want Khabib to look like Rich Franklin did when Anderson Silva hit him with that.
Yeah. That was good. My only question is, is Tony the best grappler Khabib has ever fought?
No.
Who
Not
is?
Even close.
Trujillo?
That was probably the best grappling exchange I've seen him in. I think Tony might be the most. I have to check. I know he's
the most decorated wrestler.
He's a legit
but doesn't mean
black belt too. He's a legit black belt.
Yeah, it's under Eddie Bravo.
Yeah, so he comes from. I mean, obviously Eddie Bravo is a legend. You can't take anything away from what that man's accomplished, and the guy.
Right. In beating a Gracie.
Yeah, and not just any Gracie, one of the Gracies.
The Gracies, right.
He tapped that man like a can of Pringles. But it's I think jiu-jitsu is not. I could be wrong, man. A lot of people think they saw something with the Dustin Poirier choke when he was when him and Khabib.
No, I mean Khabib. It was in tight, right? And Khabib went into defense mode and rolled to his back, but he got out of it. And
you got
unfazed and gross, unfazed, and just went back to doing Khabib things, right? Now
that's why I thought Gillespie would have been my boy.
Well, yeah, until he got destroyed.
Still, I don't think he fights again after that fight.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he does now. But you get embarrassed like that.
Yeah,
it's
like
not.
Kevin Lee, the Motown phenom. Sorry about that.
Kevin Lee is a national hero.
He is, man. He beat poor
Gillespie.
But I think you need a specialist like that, someone that's able to do a real transition.
But he's such a specialist on such a different level. The only thing that he hasn't faced is someone with submissions as good as Tony. Right? Tony's Darce choke, he can hit from anywhere.
I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be the jab. It's gonna be the jab.
No, I agree. You're not gonna beat him on the ground, I don't think. Unless you're on top. But we've also never seen Khabib on the bottom. Right?
If we could see someone who had the skill level at that weight class of, say, TJ without steroids, or even a Demetrius Johnson, someone that's
DJ, right.
Someone, even a Dominic Cruz.
Cruz would be good. The footwork would give him a lot of issues. We thought we saw that with Conor, though.
Yeah, Conor. I don't know what happened there. Conor just waited for it. I really think Conor thought he was going to go in there. Like, I believe him when he says that, like the way he was fighting. And there was a weird moment in transition. Go back and watch that fight where Conor's waiting for it, where even Khabib's kind of like, okay, like, and then he got
right.
That overhand. But I think I want Ferguson to win, not because I have strong feelings against Khabib. I just, I want someone to make him bleed and make it a fight.
You know what? That's the greatest chance that we have, right? Yeah. Is Ferguson makes it a fight. But to what level of competitiveness, we're not sure. Right? We're not going to know that until April.
There's a part of me that wants to believe. I have no proof. So this is really conspiracy theory stuff. I think Tony cuts him, and Khabib is too much of a man's man to obviously be wavered by that cut. But I think Tony is going to come in with a strategy like, maybe I can get this stopped. And there are going to be people who are going to disagree with me.
Oh, wow. I didn't think about that. It's in New York, too.
I'm like, maybe this is full conspiracy. Maybe I cut him with some elbows, make him bleed. Khabib's got some cardio issues. He's got some pre-existing injuries. Cut him up a little bit.
You think Khabib has cardio issues?
Yeah, he actually does.
Does he?
If you pay attention to like what he looks like in like the later rounds, like he slows down. Okay, let me rephrase that. He doesn't have cardio issues, but if you push him, it's obvious he gets winded. And he was actually winded in the Conor fight. He's just been doing Sambo for so long. This guy's a professional. He's a machine.
Right. The grappling doesn't take as much out of him as it does most people.
But it's there. I do just think that I think Tony. I believe what Chael says. Got to keep it in the middle of the cage, which is difficult, right?
And you can't go to the ground. You have to hit him.
You gotta kick him in his body. You gotta be willing to take chances, but they gotta be well educated chances. Like it's like if I'm going for a bunch of low kicks, I gotta rip your leg off, but like just a stabbing kick.
Yeah.
And just I also think that whoever fights Khabib, going in there headhunting is the wrong strategy because you're not going to be able to knock him out.
No, and he's going to right. I think that too. I think Khabib has a chin that hasn't been tested. It is probably also pretty solid.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
But you headhunt, he's going to level change on you, and you're going to get caught so far out. And obviously, if he's, if you're on his shoulders, he's going to control you like no one else in that division can.
You got to go in like what's the guy's name that just beat Max? What's the
Volkanovski. And point him. You got to point him.
Volkanovski type strategy to the point where Khabib gets desperate. Maybe you catch him with a knee coming in. Catch him with a knee when he's going for a sloppy takedown.
Yeah, that could definitely happen.
But while we're talking about MMA, I got to give Zach the meme. But just. Thank you for pointing me that to
that meme that I tagged you on Twitter, dude, is the first time at my new job that I've turned the volume on my phone, and I'm like, I gotta listen to this, and it was incredible. That meme was incredible, dude.
I'm telling you, I wish we had split screen right now where we could bring that up and show the people who haven't seen it.
There's video and there's audio too, so it's kind of bad for the audio. We like our audio people.
Chael, thanks for sponsoring this video.
Good old Chael Sonnen.
What else we got here?
I don't know. You got some stuff about some things that I didn't know about, so I like that. Go ahead.
All right, so we're gonna go ahead. So this is just hot topics right now. Collider videos. I actually have a friend that does some writing for their website too, I believe. And Collider, one of the biggest channels on YouTube. I won't say biggest. One of the most well-known channels on YouTube, writing critiques and other criticisms of popular media. They had a bunch of great shows. Some of them which I really like.
Hold on. So I don't mean to burst your bubble. They have less than 1 million subs.
They had more. That's. How
much did they? You're saying that they've lost subs. They have 610,000 subscribers.
So here's the way it goes. They had a guy What is this? What is my guy's name? You're making me look up my guy right now.
Yeah, give me the story of why these people aren't.
Well, actually, so what's going on is let's talk about what they. So they had some very popular shows on this platform, and it was Movie Talk, Collider Live, Jedi Council, which, by the way, and another one called Heroes. So these are fan favorites where people would basically tune in for this, and I think that they were the closest in this market to being something you would see like E-News or something like that.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, so they had that kind of thing going. They got bought out by another company. Some new management came in. And then they also recently just had a lot of success with some deep fake videos. They made that whole, I don't know if they made it, but they really made it public. The George Lucas critique. Yeah, so we'll get to that in a second. Anyway, they canceled all of their most popular shows because the viewership had started to dip underneath the numbers you just suggested. So I guess when I went to John Campia's YouTube channel, and he was actually one of the people that was heavily involved with the creation of this channel and these shows in the early onset, he said, it dropped from hundreds of thousands of viewerships to just maybe 8,000. It wasn't very much a sustainable business anymore. So it wasn't like it's anything too controversial other than the fact that it's not doing as well as it used to.
Okay.
But this is actually big news for anyone that's into that spectrum of YouTube, because there was also some stuff going in the background direction-wise. Like people the fans, as fans typically do, started noticing that the quality had dipped. Maybe there was some other hands in the kitchen changing the direction of the way things were done.
Would you say that there was too many cooks? That was a good video. Come on, that's funny. You got baited into watching that entire thing. So before you keep going, because I feel like there's questions for me after.
No, so we're gonna get to the. So let me just read. Can I read right now? You mind if I?
Yeah, go ahead.
So this is coming from Yahoo Entertainment, written by a nice man named Ross A. Lincoln, and it was written on January 2nd. Entertainment news site Collider announced Thursday that as a part of what is described as a refocusing effort, it has canceled 4 of its original video programs. Most popular ones should have been added on the chopping block are the shows Movie Talk, Collider Live, Jedi Council, and Heroes. As of Jan 2nd, the production has ceased on all 4 shows. We cannot begin to express the depth of our gratitude to our loyal fans and those who work tirelessly on these productions. Mark Fernandez, the new CEO of Collider, said in a statement Thursday. Collider said in a statement announcing the move that the site continues expanding its commitment to high-quality scripted, unscripted, and celebrity-driven content across all media platforms. Collider Video Division will now refocus on premium content that goes beyond film and television commentary, which is what made them famous, right? So people were coming here to basically get great reviews, quality round robins on things they enjoyed, right? You're making that face. What's going on?
I'm going back and looking through. Like you said, this is one of their most popular series, Heroes, right?
Yeah.
I haven't even seen a video, and I'm back in July of 2018, approaching 100,000 views. We're over 50 on some of them.
Yeah,
that's it, right? In May of 18, 33,000 views. I'm just scrolling through and clicking on random ones. Maybe I'm clicking on all the bad ones. April 11th of 2018, 58,000 views. This, like, for a company with a production team, let's get this out there. A company with a production team.
Right.
If you release a video,
Zach, you're getting excited again.
If you release a video and you're getting 55,000 views on it over a year and a half, you're not a sustainable business, right?
Yeah.
So let's see. For example, Linus Tech Tips.
Yes.
They make tech videos, right?
Do they?
They don't even make. They make high quality videos, but they're probably not the highest quality on the market, right?
No.
They haven't had a video other than the one that was released, the 2 that were released today, 9 hours ago and 2 hours ago, under 500,000 views in 3 weeks. And that one is at 439,000. And then you go another few months before you find another one under 500,000 views, right? You get their podcast is hitting 407,000 views, which is usually in a channel of this size the smallest video that they do, and it is by a large margin. right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a production team. Linus is responsible for those people's jobs, right?
Correct.
They are making content that can sustain a production team. But when you're saying this is one of their most popular series, and I'm going back, and I still haven't seen a video over the first one, November 6th, 2017, is 100,806. And this is the Thor Ragnarok review. Would this not be the most popular one that they would have done?
Which one are you looking at right now?
I'm looking at Thor Ragnarok Heroes. Spoilers review Heroes. Right? You said this is one of their most popular.
Movie Talk is what I'm saying is their most popular.
Right, but I'm just saying one of. I'm just like searching through. Like,
let's check the numbers on Movie Talk.
Sure. Let me just see. How long ago did this controversy happen?
The second in the Lloyd's year of 2020.
Okay. The only video that I see here that has a significant amount of views and is still less than an average Linus Tech Tip view, average view, is a deep fake of people reacting to Baby Yoda and has less than 1 million views. That is a viral made video, right? This is a video that was made to go viral, and it's less than 1 million. Way better than what we're doing. I get that, but their average viewers are less than 100,000. You can't support a production team on this.
Yeah, well, that's actually what I said. That's why one of the reasons that they're stating that it's not a controversy, just that it's getting fired. That it actually is slipping. But I'm trying to look back here, and now I'm noticing something on their actual page.
So there's that, and I'm also just looking at so the first thing I do is when you ask me about these YouTube channels, and you say that there's some issues going on or whatever, right? I pull up Social Blade.
Okay, perfect.
I pull up Social Blade, and I look at their stats. They're still gaining about 100,000 subs a day, almost. Mm-hmm. Right? They lost 3,000 and 4,000 the last 2 days. Because of a controversy, which is normal. But
that's my point. This is not actually a controversy. Remember when we were talking before? Good business decision on the part of Collider. Sure. But it's interesting because they're not. So this is what they're known for, is what I'm saying, right? They're known for this type of shows. Now they're going to be moving into a direction which is they're basically just going to be, and I don't want to sound like a dick here, they're going to be focusing on those friggin' deep fake videos with Baby Yoda and stuff like that.
It's as much money as you're going to put into that. If one of those videos goes viral and gets 20 million views, you made your money for the month.
Gotcha.
Right? If you do one of those a month, you're good. Instead of producing 300 videos a month, right? I don't know what they're doing. Probably 50.
They got a lot of Movie Talk videos here.
They do, let's say 50 videos a month, right?
Yeah.
There's way more production that goes into that than one viral video a month.
So in actuality, it's exactly what I was saying. It's not just that it was a good business.
A sustainable business.
But also, it's a complete reshifting of what the channel is. So sure. I want to know how much their viewership is going to drop. But let me ask you a question. This is where the question comes in.
Here again, you ask me questions, I come to you with numbers.
Hold on, I didn't even ask a question yet.
You said how much do you think their video views are going to drop?
With the
last 2 days, which is the highest level of controversy, especially in this 2020, 2019, 2020 news cycle, which is what, 3 minutes long at this point. Yeah, they haven't dropped anything. They're about average for the last 5 days. They're 205,000.
They dropped a video 6 hours ago.
Okay, so you're looking at that, right? YouTube, sure, your premiered videos are what's important, right, at that time. But you also have long tail on all of your old videos. People maybe didn't get them, you have kids, you understand this. You didn't get to see a video from these people for 2 weeks because you were busy, right? And you go in and you sit and watch some videos that you wanted to see over the last 2 weeks. You have long tail, right? That's this concept in YouTube, and it's almost like going into syndication as a television show, right? You have long tail. They're doing about 200,000 channel views a day, right? Actually, their daily average is 197,000, right? Which is daily, you're making on the very high end, if you have the ultimate CPM, $790 a day. You can't support a production team off of that, right?
No, not at all.
You hire me for 8 hours to come in and do some. Let's say I went and helped Cash do audio and like help him with his lighting and helped him with his setup. If I was actually like a consultant and that was my job, that's a $30 or $40 minimum in that realm, right? And just helping with streaming stuff, an hour job, $30 or $40 an hour. And if I'm there for 10 hours, it's $400. I just ate up half of your budget for the day.
Would they have removed most of their videos already?
I don't think so. That would be wildly, like, irresponsible.
Yeah, because you want to leave the content up for people to go back and revisit.
Long tail.
Right?
Here, movie reviews, right? This is the big one? This is the big one you're telling me about? Movie reviews?
Hold on. No, it's Movie Talk.
Movie Talk. I haven't even found that playlist. So, I mean, clearly their playlists are not good. Unless they do them all in different per Collider movie interviews, TV reviews.
Channels. No. Let's see.
I'll figure it out. This is not good content of us trying to look this up. It should have came more prepared. I'm sorry.
That's all right. But wait, before we go too deep down the rabbit hole, here's my question, right? So people love getting their reviews from YouTube, right? I more often enjoy hearing a review from an independent site versus listening to it from, say, E! Entertainment or one of those places, or even at this point, Rotten Tomatoes. But I'm wondering about the oversaturation. Was it oversaturation that killed Collider?
No. You can't go into a YouTube channel with a production team because it is impossible to grow a YouTube channel that fast. That is my thought. But how long? This has been a channel since 2007, and they have 500 million views.
Yeah,
that's a lot. I get that, but when you're supporting a production team, again, I'm just going to compare it to Linus, right? Because they have a production team that I can equate to, right? They're doing 2.6 million daily average views, right? These guys are doing 196,000. Like, I don't know what their non-endemic sponsors are like, right? I don't know what their endemic sponsors are like. I don't know what sponsorship deals Collider has. This is literally the first that I've heard about them. I don't know what their deals have, but they're not based off of their YouTube income, which I hope is like 5% of it. Right. You can't support a production team, right? And those videos, these movie review videos or whatever, first of all, to use these images, you're going to have to get licensing, right? You're paying licensing from Disney, which is not cheap, right? I see one that has the Joker on it. You're paying licensing to, what is that, Warner Brothers?
Yes. Also, let me throw in another thing for your equation. They also are a full throttle review, so they're not like cheap. They get invited to pressers, stuff like that. Most of that stuff is free, but you still have to pay someone to go. Have you ever seen what a presser injunction is? You basically pay someone for 12 hours a day to do about 30 seconds, maybe, of work.
Right. So I don't know pressers in this way. I know how you do press cars, like press cars, right? Yeah. So like when a new car comes out, someone gets hired to go on a launch. A lot of times, like if I'm working for Road and Track is going to pay my way there and pay my way back, and probably not much more than that, because that's the way that the car industry works. And then they're going to pay me to write the article, right? That's where where the money is made. These guys are going to get paid to go sit in a hotel and ask one question during an interview. You can't do that. I don't know what their site is like. Is their site bigger than their YouTube channel? Right? I don't know a way of looking up how many clicks they're having on their site, or what their ads revenue is like on their site, because that could be the cash cow that's supporting it. But
the thing I was trying to figure out is, did they go from being a sustainable small thing, get bought by someone else, and then they tried to make it into something else?
When did they get bought?
Let's see here.
Because if you could give me a date of when they were bought, then you would see I guess a trail of when. So here's a movie talk, right? You say their most popular
Yeah.
From December 19th.
I would say.
December 19th, almost a month ago. It has 40,000 views. Less than 40,000 views. I don't understand. Like, the one about some of the Skywalker stuff, 27,000 views, 41,000 views, 21, 18, 15. This is not their most popular stuff.
Maybe not anymore, but it's the most recognizable show.
But I'm looking back a month, 21,000 views. Let me scroll for a little while. I'm just saying that, like, when you're average, like, listen, if our channel was doing these numbers, I would be very happy, right? Because we would both still be working and doing stuff that we're doing, but then also there would be money involved, so our time spent wouldn't just be time wasted that we could be doing something else, right? And I'm not saying it's that, but God.
2005 was their inception, and looks like they were purchased by Complex to focus on its own brand, and Mark Fernandez, GM of Collider, wanted to focus on Collider the brand and ensure it was expanding in the right way. So he and the silent partner have now taken full independent ownership of the site, buying it from Complex. It does not say.
So he sold and then bought back his own site. Okay. So, yeah. But okay. Again, you're telling me the most recognizable thing that they do is movie talk.
Yeah.
I'm going back 7 months, and this is the episode that they did about James Gunn getting fired and rehired, right?
You know, I'm still
49,000 views. 49,000, but I'm just saying it's popular. 49,000 views. Detective Pikachu, 21,000 views. There is nothing here that tells me.
You're saying it was going down. It had been going downhill for a while.
No. It was never at the hill that you're saying that it was going down.
Oh,
it was slow climbing a mound before we got to the hill. Like, I see a string of videos here. Avengers Endgame spoiler review is the most viewed video that I've seen, other than that deepfake one that went viral, and there's 370,000 views.
What if we go back a couple of years?
I mean, I can, but so far I'm not seeing
because here's what I'm saying. If you're catching it while it's in the decline, then that's consistent with the numbers declining, because that's what John Campier said, who guys who found this. He said, had steadily been decreasing in viewership for quite some time. And even he said, as one of the people who he's not as affiliated with anymore, it was like, it got to a place where it's not sustainable.
So, but here's the thing. I'm not seeing a decline. I'm seeing it averaging about good video 55,000, low video 3.
Mm-hmm. I think the last one,
I'm back over a year, and 4.2 thousand views, 26,000 views, 45,000 views. Like, listen, again, I would love to be doing these numbers as our channel, but for 610,000 subscribers, you're not keeping 10% of your viewership that is subscribed to you. So that means they've already moved on to someone else, right? When did
Campier leave? Because that's one of the things that happened too, is they lost one of their most sought after, like, recognizable people. Do you know who John Campier is?
No.
All right.
Is this some superhero-y guy?
Superhero-y guy? What the hell is that supposed to mean?
Comic book guy? I don't know any of these people.
No, he does great movie reviews.
Oh, I don't watch movie reviews ever.
Why not?
Because I don't want something that I want to go see and experience for myself spoiled by someone who I don't know. If you were to come to me and say, "Hey, dude, I saw this movie. Let me tell you about it." I'm like, "All right, cool."
Wait, hold on for a second. Hold on for a second. You don't want it spoiled by someone you don't know. Is that what you just said?
Yes.
But you'll spoil a movie for someone you do know.
Yeah.
You're the worst type of
person.
So
the last video that I could see on this page, and I don't know if I'm limited, is 2 years ago. And they are the exact same numbers 2 years ago as they are today.
Let's see.
27,000, 47,000, 5.9. We're talking numbers here, right?
I think the highest video I'm seeing right now
is 800 and change thousand.
No, for the past 3 weeks was for Rise of Skywalker, and this is when they were interviewing the entire cast. 506K views, and then the next highest one, they got the 229K for Hobb versus. Then dips again to 97 when they interviewed the director of Thor Ragnarok, and this is some more of their campier stuff.
I'm looking back. Okay, so I just sorted by most popular of all time. They're just all trailers.
Well, that's what they do. They're an entertainment site.
No. They're just uploading trailers. The Hobbit official trailer is their most watched video. It's 8 years old, 26 million views.
Dr. Sleep review did not do well, and neither did the movie. It's got 25,000.
None of their reviews do well. One of their Jedi Councils did 3.4 million, but that's the only thing I could see that they did.
Which one was that? Which one was that?
I don't know. It's 4 years old. It doesn't matter which one it is.
No, I just want to know what they were in. I was wondering what the
first
topic
look
was.
At Luke Skywalker in Star Wars: The Force Awakens. That was their topic, right? That's supposed to do 4 million views. That's a video designed to do 4 million views. But
you seem a little enraged by this whole thing.
No, I'm just. This is so like these numbers are something that I could look at and I could take a lot of information from, right?
Yeah.
But I'm just looking at this stuff. The content that they produce is not the content that they're making money off of. What they're making money off of is trailers, cutting up trailers and saying, "Hey, this is the quick stuff from this trailer."
Yeah.
And that's what they're making their money off of. So if that's what they're going towards, then why would they not go back to what was making them money?
So you're saying that let me mirror back what you're saying. What I think you're saying. You're saying that the production crew, the high level reviews, like the round robin table stuff like that, just not liquid, right?
It wasn't
creatively.
Doing anything.
Yeah, creatively fun to look at and interested, even though that seems to be what people know them for. But also, they have another department where they actually have actual literary reviewers too, people who write reviews on their websites and stuff like that. I wonder if this is going to impact them at all.
Yeah,
or they.
I don't know. I hope they're two separate companies. But from what I am seeing, your 2-day-old controversy, sure, they lost 7,000 subscribers so far, but their viewership daily is staying the same. So, to me, this is doing nothing. It's going to keep trending the same track that it's on. Okay. That's going to keep it, but it's not sustainable for, again, a production company. They're making $100,000 a year. For us, that'd be incredible. For like someone with a production company, is maybe the worst thing that could happen.
Who were doing Movie Talk, they actually are going to have their own show.
Yeah, and they'll probably do well. But
why would they do well on their own?
Because when you have a niche market, you want to keep that by itself, because then those people can build a community and support that by itself, right? But when your niche market is only a little tiny piece of what your actual market is trying to be, you squash those people and they'll go find it somewhere else. Right, because when I subscribe to someone, and I don't even know what the last person subbed to someone on YouTube, but I will find stuff that I like, watch that part of their content, but then if they have a ton of other things and I don't like it, I'll just find someone else who did the other content. Right? YouTube is such a fickle site.
You took the words out of my mouth. There's really no brand loyalty on YouTube.
No, why would there be? There's so much content.
Yeah, but that was my first original question before you got crazy. There was it oversaturation in the market that kills something like this? You're asking.
Well, you keep asking me the same question of what killed this. There is no signs that something killed this.
So you're saying
they're not doing any less views than they have been for the last month.
So I'm asking you a very specific question.
I can't see any farther back than that on Social Blade. I don't know. Maybe in 2015 they were doing 30 million views a month, but they only did that. They did that for 12 months, and that was it. I'm looking at the channel started in 2007, right? That's when the channel was created. They have 500 million views. You divvy that up per month over that time, you're looking at the same.
So I'm asking you another question that you kind of gloss over. Do you think it was just dead on arrival? Like that concept? Do you think it's just dead on arrival?
I didn't see it at its inception. I couldn't give an answer to that question that would be genuine.
Because you know what's crazy? Do you still have it up right there? Have you ever?
I have Social Blade up.
Can you look up Grace's reviews on there?
Is that the she does
the blonde?
Yeah. Makeup? She does makeup, right?
No. Grace's reviews. She reviews movies and stuff like that.
Beyond the trailer?
Beyond the trailer. This is one person, right? No production crew. Most of the time, she's sitting in front of her webcam, but she's high level. She has access to a lot of screeners and stuff like that too. What are her numbers like?
Her average daily views are 208,000, 20,000 more than Collider. She has 200,000 more subscribers. But where we go back to this, for one person, this is a fine living.
This is really good because they're the only ones enjoying the profits from it.
Fine living. But when you have a production team and you're paying talent to come in and talk for 2 hours, talk for an hour, right?
Right.
Dude, if someone right now were to approach me and say, "Hey, we have this channel. We think you speak well. We want your business mind in this podcast, right? We want to inject you in this podcast. But we do 4 podcasts a week that are 2 hours long." I'm like, okay. You're looking at, for me, $125 an hour. That's what my time to me would be worth at that point. Also, Grace's reviews has almost 700 million total views. And was created a year later than Collider was.
Yeah.
So, she has 5,000 uploads. They have 9,300 uploads. So, I just don't think that everything on YouTube is sustainable for a production company. Some people do it really well, like Linus, and some people clearly don't do it very well at Collider. And that it's not a knock on them, but yeah, if they just said, "Hey, these 3 series of videos are costing us X amount of dollars, but we're only making this," then that's the move that they had to make. And business, sure, that makes sense to cut your most popular stuff because that's what's killing you, is because you're spending that much more money to make those than you are to have a computer sit for 8 hours and and make a deep fake. So I did a little bit of math. 9,279 uploads for 495 million views is less than 54,000 views a video, which, as we're looking, high videos that were really high end were 70 to 150,000, right? And their average video was less than 20,000, which to me at 53,000 average, which if we're doing a little bit of math here, it checks out that their video views have been the same forever. If not, they're more popular now than they ever have been. Because 8 years ago, they had 25 million views in one video. So you take that out, our average goes down a significant portion.
I'm looking at the way they have their stuff broken up here, like on the actual website.
Okay.
And it's interesting because it's to see what they were attempting to do when they started getting into YouTube videos and doing the round robin table. I really do think that they were kind of trying to center as that part of the market. Like, you can turn here to get all your high level reviews. Whereas going to someone like Grace. Grace is great. I love watching Beyond the Trailer, but she has a very clear target audience that she's delivering her message to.
She hit her niche and kept it there, right?
Yeah, they would definitely try to branch into more of the ET market, entertainment.
You can't do that. You in that aspect, you have to compete with TMZ, and you don't have access to people like TMZ does, right?
Well, I mean, TMZ, first of all, man, it's not even that they have access to people; they just have so many independent freelance want to be
but that costs a lot of money. And they make a lot of money. So I was just doing the comparison, right? 5,219 uploads for Beyond the Trailer for almost 700 million views is 133,000 views a video on average, right? And she's doing 200,000 daily average videos. So if you do one video a day, plus some long tail, but she's doing almost triple what Collider is. Collider doesn't seem like, to me, at 610,000 subscribers, was ever the most popular thing around. What it seems like is it probably had a really good niche. They probably did really good content, but they did content for such a small market that there wasn't anywhere to go with it.
And they just had to make and that's basically what the guy who used to be their creative director said. I actually thought it was pretty classy in regards to, there are some people who have been former employees of companies, and when they're I'll use the word demise because that's the word that was thrown around. A lot of people want to see them fail because of the direction they've head in. But to see him, John Campea, respond to this whole thing, he's like, people are asking me if I'm happy that these shows are getting canceled, that these are the shows I created. And he's like, of course I'm not happy. He's like, friends of mine are getting laid off. But more importantly, he's like, I got to be a part of something really special when it first started. Right. And then to kind of see where it went, he's like, you don't want it to fail. You just want it to make the right course correction and get back to where it was headed before. I thought that was kind of classy.
It is very much so. I don't. As much as it sounds like it, I know very little about Collider. I know nothing about Collider. Right. I can just look at numbers and evaluate with YouTube, with anything really, how something is doing. And it seems like to me that they're going to be the same that they are last month, last year, 5 years ago, in terms of revenue, in terms of viewership. There will be a controversy of 2 weeks, and then they're going to be back on this.
This will blow over in 4 days.
And they're going to be back on the same track of gaining 1,000 subs a day that they were on before. And in 3 years, they'll hit 1 million subs. And that's where it is. I just don't.
You think it almost sounds like you were alluding to they might try it again when they get their subs back up, or when they get to
what we're looking at is they didn't lose any subs really. Yeah, sure, they lost 10,000, right? But their trend is going to go back up. It's just how it works. So what? They didn't for a day or two. They had some controversy. It's going to blow over. The channel will be fine, but you can't support a production team, right? There's a lot of work that goes into a production team. You're paying a guy for lights. You're paying a guy for audio. You're paying a guy to come in and make sure it's OSHA safe, right? You're paying a guy you're paying probably 10 people who do sets. You're paying someone, probably 4 or 5 people to do post. There's a guy there just doing thumbnails and graphics. You probably have 30 people employed to do this channel that is not sustainable for 5 people.
Yeah, that's probably going to be their next bit of controversy. They made those layoffs. A lot of those people landed on their feet because they just went with those independent people to like the next channels or whatever they're going to do. Obviously, they're not going to be able to keep that high level quality anymore for the visuals and the audio. Maybe not. But it looks like they're going to have to lay off some more people if I'm believing any of these other reports. Yeah, I'm
sure at some point you probably you hit a pass on the road and you have to make a business decision.
No. Trump done goofed.
Oh my God, is that the segue you're going into?
Yeah.
Wow, I was looking up. I wanted to see how my boy Jay's 2 cents is doing since we're talking about Linus.
Hold on for a second. I'll put up with a lot of your shit, right? I'll let you fucking get crazy and talk all types of nonsense. Say anything bad about Jay, I will literally drive over to your house.
Actually, I think I was the one who turned you on to Jay, and then when I did originally, you said you didn't like him.
Wrong. You've made up an alternative fact, and that's why we should talk about President Trump, because you're sounding very much like him. I actually came to you and I was like, hey man, have you ever heard of this guy called, I think his name is Jay's Cent? And you're like, you mean Jay's 2 Cent? I'm like, yeah, I actually enjoy that guy because I don't like that he does. I like that he doesn't have to be. I believe
at one point you called him a fatty.
I would never say that about another human being.
Okay. So now that we've curved that conversation a little bit.
So was it that I didn't know who he was, or that I called him a fatty?
I don't know where we are.
I think Jay, to be honest with you, if you're ever just wanting to sit down and you're like, because I like Linus, I enjoy Linus's content, but he's very high energy, and there's also a point where it's just like very comedic. I enjoy the Linus show for what it is. Tries it, but this is a time where you're like, hey, I actually know how to put this thing together, and that's when I go watch Jay or Bitwit or that other bald fellow with the glasses, who's actually really good.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. This is becoming a very, very late night for me. I'm getting very tired. My brain is starting to shut down.
Do you want to end it?
I mean, we could do the politics talk about the.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I want to go into that. That might be too volatile. But I will just say, did he goof, or did he respond, or is goofing responding?
So, I mean, he ordered a drone strike that killed a country's second in command. Super wrong, right? Because you have to think of foreign affairs after you do something like that. Clearly was not. It was an afterthought. 2, it was not approved by Congress. So there's an issue there. He's just going around the laws that America down there has, right? There's a lot of implications with this, other than the fact that he killed another country's general, right?
So the question becomes like, is this something that's cumulative, right? So let's just argue the other point of view for a second, which was this thing starts with the constant back and forth with Iran and America, the poor relations that have been disintegrating, which leads up to them possibly sabotaging a few boats, if you remember that correctly. I think those were actually, I think a couple of them were Japanese, like oil tankers and stuff like that. Cumulative, keeps going. There's no real response from America. People seem to get used to that, and then the whole thing happens with the consulate. So for what I'm gathering from I don't even want to call it the right side, I'm just going to say what I'm gathering from Trump supporters is they stormed the consulate. They felt like that if you give them an inch, you give them a yard, and people seem to be rallying behind him. The thing that I'm wondering, though, is, was this the wartime cry that will traditionally get a president reelected?
Yeah, that's probably what it is, right?
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago, right? What is it? Almost 8 now, when Obama was up for re-election. Trump 100 times on Twitter said he's just going to start a war with Iran because that's what's going to get him reelected. He's gonna attack Iran because a president in war gets reelected. And months before the reelection, right? 2 months before the campaign trail really starts and really picks up, there's now all of a sudden America drone striked a airport in Iran, and now is packing up thousands of troops to put themselves over there.
Yeah,
right. Essentially starting a war action.
A guy we know from the school actually packed up and ships out tomorrow.
Really?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
You know, it's interesting you brought up something that, we talked about this once. I think it was either on Gaming with the Data, maybe on this, and talking about following a consistent worldview. And there's so many inconsistencies when it comes to people's political ideology and things of that nature. And it's going to be interesting because the one thing we can always do is go back historically and mark what was said on public record. So you just brought up something about Trump going around Congress and doing this illegally. I want to rewind the clock back a few years. Do you remember when they accused Obama
of doing the same thing?
Of doing the exact same thing?
He did, for sure. Right? He did a lot of drone strikes without approval. Right? So I didn't like that either.
No. It's going to be interesting. Take yourself out the driver's seat for a second. I always monitor these two sides to see where they're being inconsistent. And I want to see how they respond, the always Trumpers, how they respond to that. I want to see how the Sean Hannity's and those guys, mostly over in the camp at OAN News and Fox News, how they respond to this, and if they're going to be consistent, where it's the rule of law, not the president, that should be held high.
But they'll think it's a good idea because this person was a maniac, or this person was unstable, or any of the other, colloquialisms that they use about people when they need to make their side seem right. Right? Both sides do it. Both sides do it. Everyone 100%. Is a maniac when we don't like them, right?
The question is the truth of the matter did he have any real ties to? Oh, man,
I can't answer the question that you're going to ask. I cannot answer accurately.
No, it's a hypothetical question, and it's made to make people think. So when you hear Islamic State, people usually have a very visceral reaction to. I would implore you to actually look up what that actually means.
Oh man, I don't have time in my life to do that. But okay.
Not you. I'm talking about the rhetorical.
All right.
You don't have time to do shit.
That's a good point.
Trump done goofed. We'll see how this whole thing pans out.
Yeah, I I'm curious to see what the geopolitical state of affairs is after this action, because it can't get better, right? It goes downhill from here. Whether we're in another war action, right? I looked up today how old you have to be in the draft because I was curious. I can't be drafted anyway because I'm Canadian, but I was just curious on whose children are getting taken to war.
If there's anyone that still believes that, then God bless you.
I literally could not be drafted for another reason, but
yeah,
you're too old.
No, hold on for a second. I'm not too old. I'm still in my best fighting year. All right, and this old.
You're more of a debater now instead of a fighter.
No, I'll take a fight square on.
I love how I really got you on that one. You're like,
I'll take a fight full on. I mean, we'll see it. We'll see how this whole thing pans out. Forget the mixers, man. I want to do a little bit more. And the reason I want to talk about the mixers, because you know what's interesting about this whole thing, man? You forget that there's a whole market of stuff. But you know what I miss most about making music, quote unquote, making beats?
Okay.
Is the excitement of looking this stuff up. So when I was doing research, started with, hey, let me see what Newmark's doing nowadays. Let's see if they ever got that crossfader situation mapped out. And then I was like, you know what? Let me look at some turntables. Let's see what else is going on. Everyone to digital turntables. And the next thing you know, I'm looking at mixers and I'm like, man, this is when I felt old, but in a good way. I was like, this stuff has come so far from when I was trying to save up my pennies to buy it. And it was pretty cool, man. So that's all I got, man. And I'm fuzzy.
We'll come back on the way. Yeah, I've really, we really got to get your webcam situation figured out on how it's going to focus. We could probably just set it to not autofocus. Probably be the best way to do it. But I think it's going to wrap up Talking with a Dad for this week, episode 12. Steve, you going to bring us out, or are you going to keep trying to focus with the? All right, I'll bring us out. Thanks everyone for watching. This has been Talking with a Dad, episode 12. Have a good night.